everyone, welcome back to more Flesh and Bad, and today we're going to be looking at the Kuala Lumpur list. So we saw two Zens in the top 8, so Nick Butcher and Jason Chua, and I have their list kind of pulled up here. I kind of did my best effort to make them kind of sideboarded, so I'm assuming this is mostly main deck, and then this is kind of like sideboard for this list, and then similar for this. Again, I'm not the author of these decks, and people sideboard very differently in this game. Even if you're running the same deck, I find that often that a lot of people sideboard very differently. So I do not take any kind of responsibility for a lot of the sideboard choices here. But let's kind of like just go over like a brief overview of the list. So looking at Nick Butcher's list, again, equipment suite I think is the same across the board. So only AB1, again, not incredibly surprising, no needles, no anything crazy. Main deck, again, we have our good cards, we have our Ancestrals, our Tiger Swipes, our Chase Tails. One notable cut from the Nick Butcher list, I guess, is the Mullen Key. Mainly because I think this deck has a lot of chain enders, so if you look at like the weakest link, if you're running 3 of weakest link, Mullen Key obviously gets significantly worse just in terms of like clinking up your hand, so it kind of makes sense there. Again, I'm not like the biggest fan of weakest link as a card, but I understand that as like a meta call. Pretty good into Zen and Aurora, which again there are I think 5 in the top 8, so decent meta call. In the main deck we also have Harmony Hunts from Nick Butcher, which again are very good at generating extra tigers for Chase Tails, so it helps you resolve it a little bit easier. We also see Blue Tiger Form Incantation in the blues, which is an interesting card. So one of the immediate things for me with this list is if you look at like the ways you can transcend. We're not running Buddy Breeze and we're not running Blue Hunter Winch, which is very interesting. So what that means is that these Tiger generators, if they get banished by New, New can play them, generate Tigers, and then like hit you with the Key Unleash. So I feel like there might be a little bit of, I don't know, concern, I guess, is my immediate thought. So yeah, maybe Nick Butcher knows a little bit better than me because obviously he piloted to a top of the calling finish. But the main problem historically with these Harmony Hunts and the Tiger Form Incantations is they're 2-card transcend. So you need to basically keep a 3-card hand to transcend if you want to play like blue Harmony Hunt, pitch a blue, and then use a transcend card. So historically these cards have been very clunky, but they are actually very good as like enablers for the start of your turn. But that's why a lot of lists recently do not run them. If you look more at Jason Chua's list, again, this is a little bit more typical of the kind of like Zen lists we've seen in the past with the 100 Winds and the Buddy Breeze, enabling you to do like 2-card transcends. So a little bit of difference in kind of like the blues, which I think is probably the most fascinating thing here. Also, we have 2 Cosmics in both lists. Again, I think 3 Cosmics in the other list. Mostly for fatigue, I think Cosmics are very good right now. Growl's also making inclusion, natural source of go again, very good. So in this list, actually, we don't actually see the Growls. We see Bittering Thorns and Censor, and I love Censor a lot. So this list is very cool. Censor, just a very good card in the mirror. So I don't think it's like a mirror breaker card, but it is just a 2-card 7, and with Kakara presumably, and it is very good into some decks. So like you can name like Crouching Tiger with it. You can name like it's a very good card. Like basically the later the game goes, like especially against like New, if you know what threats are remaining in the deck, like a Venomous Bite, you can name Venomous Bite if you hit with this, and then this demands 2 cards out of hand, which is very good. So I really like the Censor a lot. And then let's finish talking about Nick Butcher's list. So sideboard is Wax On, Snag, and Wax Off. So we are fully waxed in this build. So we have 6 Wax On, Wax Off. Pretty good. And then we also have Snag, which again I'm not the biggest fan of. Snag is definitely probably more for ratios, because what I'm assuming Nick is doing in this build is presumably cutting some of these blue like Tiger enablers so they don't synergize with like Pouncing Key, Key Unleash, etc. Triple Key Unleash also probably something to talk about. So this is actually like kind of like an interesting like anti-fatigue strategy, I guess. Because assuming that you're doing this off like a double transcend or something, it's pretty good. So Blue Key Unleash, pretty good like curve filler, but again, very difficult if you're trying to like transcend off of it. And yeah, I think that pretty much kind of wraps up the Nick Butcher list. Again, I think I'm little bit more. Maybe I'm like more used to this kind of style list, but I really do like the two card hands that a list like this can do, especially if you're needing to block out effects like Weakest Link and CNC. The other list has a lot of 2-blocks, so if we actually look at the main deck 2-blocks, let's take a look at that. So we have 15 2-blocks main deck, 9 0-blocks Transcend cards. Now let's take a look at this deck and see how many 2-blocks we're running, because I'm kind of curious how different it is. So 13 2-blocks, so I guess pretty similar. Yeah, so not that big of a difference actually. I guess the main difference here is that we just have the 0 cost, which allow you to play off 2 cards hands, but a little bit better. And yeah, this list is like pretty good. I do like the That All You Got. This is a card that I've been experimenting with, and it's pretty good in the mirror and against new. So definitely a worthwhile inclusion, helping you like dig towards Transcends. Yellow Wax On is not making an appearance here. I think that's kind of getting replaced by Sync, but I think Sync is also like very solid potentially in the mirror, just so that you can have the opportunity to like dig towards Transcend faster. And then main board is like pretty stock standard. Trimming on Spinning Wheel Kick here, because again, Spinning is like probably one of the worst cards in the main deck for a lot of builds. 2 Wind Chakra also kind of interesting, and then 2 Bouncing Key. I guess that kind of just like rounds up the curve a little bit. Yeah, but these decks are both really interesting, and again, it was cool watching some of the games, so I wanted to kind of do a video on it. And now, in a completely unbiased kind of method of analyzing them, I'm just going to play 2 games, one with each, and just see how the decks perform, and I'll give them a rating of 1 to 10 based on that singular game, how well I like the deck. So let's go ahead and get into the games. All right, first up, we have Nick Butcher's list against New. So I'm assuming that we want pretty much all of this stuff. I'm assuming we also want Warmongers. What I imagine we cut into New is probably like, I'm guessing it's the Tiger Generation stuff. Again, I'm not Nick Butcher, so I don't really know. But I'm assuming that some of these like Tiger generating blues are quite bad. Also levels. Maybe we actually keep the Tiger Form incantations. It's definitely close. I feel like I want to cut some of this. Levels is like a for sure cut though. Maybe we do just cut these and roll with it and see how it goes. This looks relatively okay to me. Let's try it. Again, not Nick Butcher, so if I'm sideboarding wrong, let me know. I also just got off work, so I'm incredibly tired, but we'll see how this goes. All right, starting with Spider's Bite. I think we'll go ahead and just block with Bouncing Key here. Do you think it's worthwhile holding on to like the Harmony Hunt in case we need to have like a starter for next turn? I'm pretty like comfortable just like blocking here though. It's definitely a little bit of a concern for fatigue, but I do want to try to dig towards Transcend early if I can. Okay, looks like they're not doing a whole lot. So what do we want to do with this hand? Could just YOLO Harmony, but that doesn't seem right. I do want to ideally Arsenal this. Maybe it's just Harmony the Hunt into Mauling Key. We don't get our Tiger Swing, which is a little bit awkward. But I think this is fine. Alright, they have a Fate Foreseen. That's okay. I do just want to try Arsenal Harmony for Transcend starter. Alright, got him on 3-card hands. We have 5-card hands. Wax On, looking good. Okay, and hopefully we caught them on a terrible hand, because their hand does not look very good. This might be a hand that requires us to pop Pouncing Paws next turn. Potentially. Could also just take a mid-turn and like just send Weakest Link. It's probably not bad either. I think I'm fine just taking the Spider's Bite. Alright, seems like just a terrible turn for them. Let's go ahead and still want to hold on to this ideally. I guess I'm wondering if there's a way we can overpitch. I think there is. So what if we just like overpitch the Wax On for later? Kind of fine with that. And then we just send Weakest Link at them. Alright, they have a Sink below, that's fine. Again, I still want to just ideally hold on to this Ancestral Harmony. All right, let's get some information about their hands. So they have 2 Art of Desire Mines, and they'll leave no witnesses. Okay. I don't think I'm incredibly scared of that. Depends what they have in Arsenal, obviously. All right, here we see the Mistblade. So we do know that they have basically a 0 for 2, so our Pouncing Claws is actually getting a decent amount of value here. And I do kind of like unblocking it. The problem is our hands haven't been like anything really amazing. Yeah, his hand's like very, very awkward. So if I'm blocking with this hand anyways, I guess. Problem is, if I want to block their next thing, I have to block with a blue. Huh. This hand is like very clunky. I'm going to go ahead and just deny them our Desire Mind value, though. I think that might be worth it. Okay. Looks like they're just coming in for 1. And our hand's pretty bad, but like... Okay, I'm actually fine if they banish here, because like our hand's not doing a whole lot anyways. Let's go ahead and give them what? I feel like giving them a snag is pretty reasonable. All right, they hit a growl, that's fine. Sure. Kind of want to just YOLO off the top, because I do want to just park this Wax in Arsenal, especially knowing that the Arsenal will leave no witnesses. All right, hit a Harmony Hunt, which is pretty bad. I thought I ported those out. Did I leave one in? I might have left one in. Well, that's unfortunate. Let's go ahead and just send Kakar for 2. Alright, they have Sync. It's like 3 reacts in the first like 3 turns. Okay, sure. And I guess we're just Arsenal Wax on. There actually might be an argument to Arsenal Harmony in case they have Siren's Call, but seems whatever. All right, leave no's fine. Again, we have the Wax on and Wax off if they want to try to pump over it. So I think I'm okay with this. The only problem with this hand is that like the Path Will Travel plus Tiger Swipe's a little bit awkward, or like the Path Will Travel plus Wax On's a little bit awkward, but I think we'll just go ahead and let them have it here. All right, so we have Double Transcend plus Mask. What do we banish here? I think we want to banish Swipe here, right? Yeah, seems like banish Swipe seems correct. All right, they give go again. They banish with new. That's fine. All right, they hit a Transcend card, which is a little bit awkward, but we'll Wax on this. All right, Harmony Hunt, sure. All right, coming in for 5, draw a card, holding on to the Tiger. Wait, did they attack with the Tiger? No. So why are they holding on to it? Interesting. We could Wax on this. The problem is I want to be able to Transcend, so I'm not going to. All right. They do decide to attack with Tiger, sure. All right, we'll go ahead and start with Harmony. All right, we hit that, which is amazing. So we got a nice little turn lined up here, again, off the back of hitting with Ancestral Harmony. All right, we'll go ahead and pass. I don't know if Teen's gonna watch this back, but turn this into a chase aspect montage. Just like, I don't know, put, I always just say like I'm doing the chase aspect line, and it's incredibly boring. Make this the most exciting chase aspect ever. Again, I'm kidding. Don't actually do that. All right, we have Bonds of Agony. That's fine. So one actually cool trick you can do with Bonds of Agony is you can block 6 on it with this. You block 6 like this, and then if you're holding Sacred Art, one thing you can do is you can like transcend the Sacred Art, pitch it to Zen, so they can just get a Crouching Tiger if they want to pay into this. Which I think I want to do here. And then if they just mask, I think we're fine to just like banish Key Unleash or whatever. I think it's okay. All right, looks like they are going to commit here, which is okay. All right, just Nick plus Fang Strike, sure. So pumping over 10, we had no way to block it anyways. Let's go ahead and just mono transcend. We won't gain a resource. And then we'll just activate Zen, making a Tiger. I just looked at our transcend cards, by the way, and we are kind of running a little low. All right, they hit a Wax on, that's fine. Banish my Tiger, look at my deck. Sounds good. All right, so we lost a little bit of tempo here. Hopefully we can find a couple of our reacts to kind of gain it back, which, again, this is the perfect combo, so I guess I can't complain. We'll say no blocks on this. This is fine. All right, Siren's Call is interesting. So we can actually, if we were going to play on, wax off this turn anyways, it's kind of tempting to just play this out in response. I wonder if we actually want to make a Zen state here, because if we want to make a Zen state, then we have to play both out now. Or alternatively, you can just play out this one. It's kind of tempting to just play out this one. Just to deny the card draw, and then we're holding on to Wax On in case we need it to like kind of get back a little bit of tempo. Kind of don't mind this play, because again, like Zen state's good and all, but it's not like the best card in the world against New. But like you're basically getting like a turn as Zen state, right? Like it's not like a make or breaking the game or anything. Okay, so you want to block with the red, obviously. I think on our turn we're just sending CNC. Depends what they do, obviously. All right, they had a Wax Off, which is annoying. So I think we have one left exactly. Sure. So let's go ahead and I think just send CNC and we can Arsenal the Aspect. This should strip 2 cards out of hand. They don't have armor to block, so should be pretty all right. All right, looks like they're just going to lose Arsenal. Pretty good for us. Maybe implies they have some reacts in hand, but who knows for sure. One funny thing we could potentially do is like pass over if they try to go for like a Codex here. Sand's kind of bad. Again, not a super big fan of like triple Key Unleashed. It feels a little spicy. Especially when you're trying to like enable Transcend. But let's go ahead and just say no blocks on this. Again, I don't think we really care about Bonds of Memory. All right, they're going to pop Stilettos, which kind of makes sense. I figured they had some source to go again here. All right, they have Grain, that's fine. I don't really want to give them a Key Unleash, especially when we have Harmony Hunt. I thought I cut that from the deck in sideboarding, but I could be wrong. Maybe I didn't. So I don't want to give them one of those. We could just give them an Aspect, which is kind of reasonable. Sure. Right, they had a Wind Chakra, which is also not a great combo with Harmony Hunt. But again, I think you're supposed to cut this in this matchup because like giving new Tiger generators is like pretty terrible. All right, then we see Art of Desire Body. We have no float, no cards in hand. I think now is probably the time to just try to go for something. So, because I think we're pretty safe from like Siren's Call. We still have a Chase in our deck, right? We should, yeah. So as long as they don't banish the Chase here, I think we're fine. All right, 1 in 38 chance. Let's see if they hit it. Okay, ooh, it was a red card, but we're fine. All right, I guess we're just sending the full chase line. Yeah. I think we can even probably just play out Key Unleashed after. I don't think we need a Kakara. Just want to try to maximize the damage with this hand and then Arsenal pass over, I think. All right, more reacts. That's expected given their hand last turn. Seems like they didn't want to block the CNC. All right, we've seen 5 reacts. Sure. You're going to run out of reacts eventually. All right, Hiss block, I love to see. And then hit him with the Key Unleashed. All right, they'll block with the Hiss. That's fine. I'm assuming last card is Codex, but we have Arsenal to deal with that. Okay, no Codex. So we are now in the driver's seat with very, very good hands. How do we not mess this up, though, I guess is the question. So let's go ahead and pass over. It's always dicey here. I haven't actually kept track of what they've transcended with, so they could have preserved here. Do they already have a Leave No Witnesses in graveyard? No, they do not. How badly do we get blown out if we target Leave No Witnesses? Their Tunic's not up. Or it's not going to be up for another turn. So if they do have a Codex, it's pretty good to get Leave No Witnesses. I'm going to go for it, and if we get blown out, we get blown out. Okay, looks like no blowouts today. There is an argument for just targeting React there, but like the issue with that is that like Leave No is very, very good, especially if it's their only Leave No in graveyard. If they didn't have a Leave No in graveyard, I'd be a lot less incentivized to try and attack it or try to target it. So running a little low on combo cards here, but I think we should have enough to kind of close out the game. Let's go ahead and do we want to get Pouncing Paws now, or do we want to save it? I think actually just getting a Key Unleash now is pretty reasonable. It's like 6 damage versus 7. Yeah, I think I like that. Actually. It's a little awkward with the Pouncing Key. That's the only issue. Actually, I'm gonna do that. Let's get a Chase instead, I think. All right, then we'll send Tiger. I think it's better to do Chase line here because it lets us at least play out the Pouncing Key. All right, pop our paws. And then we just get a Wax On an Arsenal, which is pretty solid. All right, so this demands at least 1 card from them. All right, it's Codex. That kind of tracks. And let's go to our Arsenal. All right, we see Wax On plus Snag. Pretty good spot to be in against a new. If we really wanted to fuck their day up, we could probably make a Zen State, but I don't think that's necessary. I think this is fine. All right, we have the Surgical Extraction. I think blocking 5 here and then just saving Snag. I guess Snag is pretty reasonable here. So let's go ahead and give up Kasaya. They're at 1, so I don't feel too bad about giving it up. All right, finishing all the levels. I think Codex there is actually pretty scary because they have 2 floating, so they can get like CNC. Not bad. Here I think we're just gonna take the 5 though. Just try to send the hand. And these blue Key Unleashed here is actually like coming in pretty clutch. Because it lets us use kind of like these 3-card hands pretty well. And gives us a Shuko trigger. Alright, so this Key Unleashed demands 2 cards from hand. Not bad. Again, I am a pretty big fan of Key Unleashed. I guess I'm just not sure if it's a... What do you call it? I'm not sure if it's a 3 of. Just because enabling Transcend is pretty important, but we are performing pretty well with this deck, at least initially. Like, this new matchup has not felt incredibly close. Let's go ahead and block with Shuko here. The only real out they have is either Transcend. Well, they can't Transcend and Headpiece anymore, so I'm assuming... What does this mean? This means Could be Amit, or it could be Path Will Travel at Activate New, or it could just be just a Nick. Let's take a look at our just a Nick count. We've seen a 1, so it's probably just a Nick, so I think the Shuko blocks here is fine. It also just occurs to me that we can't really transcend off this hand, so probably blocking with the card was more smarter. It's still fine here, though. Okay. Seems like they're off it. Draw 2 transcend cards. What they have Persuasive in Arsenal. Okay. So I think the correct play there was actually not to give up Shuko, and it was to probably just block with the card. But looks like we got there anyways. Okay. So let's do the Aurora rating system. So 8 out of 10 on the performance rating. Again, that Nuka game felt pretty good. I'd say a 6 out of 10 on the coolness factor. I think the coolest part about this list, I guess, is just like the harmonies stuff, which again, I'm not like incredibly sold on, but it seems pretty decent. And then on the, I guess, clunkiness factor, I'll give it like a 5 out of 10 again, because I do worry about a little bit of the clunkiness on like some of the Harmony Hunt stuff. Also, I should probably clarify that the clunkiness factor means that the deck, 10 means not clunky, and then 0 means very, very clunky. Okay, so a little bit clunky, but let's go ahead and give the other list a shot. All right, we have another new. I didn't actually mean to pick first. I probably meant to pick second. All right, let's try out this other list. Again, I assume the sideboarding is pretty similar. Board out levels. I like boarding on 100 wins personally. Where's levels? Here's levels. Assuming it's something like this. At least it's normally how I board my deck. The rest seems pretty alright. Yeah, let's go ahead and try it. Alright, we do have double transcend, but it is awkward. I feel like the play here is to just like Kakara chase the tail and then we can preserve it back. I guess Arseling double transcend's pretty good. Alright, we are a pursuit we are a pursuit of knowledge gamer. Again, I think in the new matchup you generally want to go second. I just kind of autopiloted and picked first. Alright, we're running Scar for a Scar as well. Very interesting. Not sure how I feel about that. Let's go ahead and Arsenal Preserve. I don't think it really matters between the two. We're bordering on Cosmicing the next turn, which is also very interesting. Alright, we'll go ahead and pass here. No reason to block daggers in the matchup. Again, they have 2 Mistblades, so if they want a Mistblade to hit, they can probably just get it. Alright, we have the second Mistblade. Again, not incredibly scary. The next blue attack is going to come in for a lot, though, I guess. Alright, the Codex here, discarding a card, getting back a Pursuit, I guess? Is that good? I mean, it's probably not terrible. They have no float here either, so we could just block this, but... So they would draw 6 cards, right, basically? That's kind of dicey. But on the alternative hand, we could just Cosmic them, which is very funny. I'm kind of leaning towards the funny play. I feel like the funny play is better content, but maybe the block 6 play is actually slightly smarter. Fuck it. They can have a 6-card hand, I don't care. Alright, 6-card hands. No big deal. Let's go ahead and Rising Sun Preserve. Put our Chase back in the deck. Gain some resources. Okay. So let's bottom swipe here, gain a resource, and then just Kakar for 1 plus Cosmic for 15. Seems alright. This is probably like incredibly wrong, but like whatever. It's funny. I feel like the play actually was to like block with Biting Breeze and then sink it, or like sink and then just maybe like get rid of Cosmic since we already had like the resources that we needed, but can't turn down a good Cosmic for 15. I do like to see 2 just to Nick blocks. That makes blocking a lot easier down the line, at least. What does that mean about their hand? I feel like their hand has to have like a CNC or something like weird in it, or like a surgical where they can't use them or something. It's a very strange block to me. Oh, this has been like a really weird blocking. So we have 2 codexes out of the way. Or I guess they didn't block with the codex, but 2 codexes out of the way, 2 Justinics out of the way. We have surgical extraction coming in. So we do need to respect like Venomous Bite, but they've already also blocked with one of those. So more than likely this is just Hiss. Let's go ahead and use Pouncing Paws, and then we could hold on to the Key Unleash, but we can also just get rid of an aspect. I think that's also reasonable. Let's go ahead and just block like this. Alright, if they have Transcend, it's not a big deal. If they want to use a Rousing Wave, I don't think that's also a big deal. Let's go ahead. What do we want to give them here? I feel like giving them Pouncing Key is like fine. Sure. Maybe I should have blocked with the Key Unleash actually, because at least we get some like aspect for 3. But now we can't really send this hand unless we want to pop Pouncing Paws, which seems kind of bad. Yeah, so I don't like my blocks here. Alright. Make the best of a bad situation. We can either send 7 using Pouncing Paws, or we can send 2. Those are basically our 2 choices. Or we just YOLO off the top. That also seems bad. So I hate to use Pouncing Paws like this, but I think we kind of dug a little bit of a hole for ourselves. At least this way we get a Shuko trigger. And not incredible, but again, kind of played a little bit poorly there. I think that aspect was not the block. Okay, so we do have the ability to cover a Justinic pretty easily. We also are sitting on Sync Below, so like I don't think there's any way we actually like get hit by this. Alright, so I'm assuming this is just Mask Banish. Sure. So we'll go ahead and banish a Pouncing Key, I guess. Alright, Tunic into what? Into Venomous, sure. Alright, we'll go ahead and just wax this on. And see if they want to commit anything more to this. I am slightly worried about CNC here, which would suck, but not a whole lot we could do with this hand. I think this is just wax on off, or block with this and wax off. Sure. So again, our Zen State's not getting like incredible value here, but it's still like just fine. All right, we'll go ahead and pass back. We're still sitting on sync, so we're kind of in a fine spot here. Let's see what they do. The hand's pretty all right though, especially with Zen State. Like we can sink below something and then just send like a decent value hand. Alright, dagger for 0 is fine. To leave no, sure. So it looks like they're maybe just filtering their hand here. How do we want to respond? I think we're just sync blowing this. All right, we have Venomous, which is okay. Sure. So we'll go ahead and sink here. And then do we want to get rid of anything? Probably not, honestly. I think our hand is just Bittering, Aspect, Kakara, Tiger, and then Arsenal Grain for like a double Transcend play in the face of CNC, which we have not seen any of yet. All right, we will get a random banish off the top. It's a chase that kind of sucks, but is what it is. Okay, we see our first CYB. So that's okay. I don't know exactly when the optimal time to see CYB is, but I feel like it's just any time early in the game where it costs you tempo, where it's like you have to play it out. So I think I'm actually in a pretty good spot against CYB new. Again, they haven't developed a CYB out like incredibly early. They've had a couple like very, very clunky hands. And we are just sending like some pretty good value, developing out Chi in the deck, and we've already hit them with a Cosmic. So I'm not incredibly worried about fatigue here. All right, we see another CYB, which again is costing them a lot of tempo here. And they pitched one as well. So good information. Then we've also played 2 red CYBs, so we have only yellows and 1 red left. We are sitting on a really good arsenal, so if we draw any blue, we're in a pretty good spot. I did say any blue, but these are not the blues that we wanted. Okay. How do we salvage this? So, I do ideally want to hold on to this That All You Got for next turn. So I guess the play is to just Kakara pitching Warmongers, I guess. We're going to IP2 ourselves here, which is kind of unavoidable. Yeah, a little bit of an unfortunate turn. We basically had full tempo, and then this hand kind of just bricked us a little bit, but is what it is. Maybe Warmongers is not the play. But again, it's kind of just fine as like a crappy blue that prevents you from getting fatigued. I'm like halfway tempted to just like grain for 1 value, but that seems like profoundly wrong. Like we draw any like other Transcend, it's basically just a blowout if they have CNC. Alright, we have Tunic up. Again, we gave up, unfortunately, a little bit of tempo there. Alright, we see a silver pop, that's fine. Okay, into Scar for a Scar. Pretty good here. Again, I'm not sure if that's actually like the play if you're a CYB deck, but I guess maybe you get like a little bit control over your life total. So it may make sense. Let's go and say no blocks here though. It's just vanilla damage. If they're CYB, they're not incredibly threatening. Okay, so this is a little bit awkward. Again, we're kind of stuck with the same hand. Maybe I should be blocking a little bit more, but like these hands have just been like, yeah. Yeah, I think my mistake is that I'm not blocking enough here. Maybe I am just gonna pop or get rid of the grain from Arsenal to give one damage, just because we're IP2ing ourselves a return, which is like pretty bad. But again, I'm expecting them to not have CYB turn because they already played out 2 of them at that point, pitching 1. But I think I've sacrificed quite a bit of tempo here. Oh, I also hold on. Sorry, I forgot to. I'm just gonna grain this stupid thing just because it's been stuck in my arsenal for like 2 turns. Feels bad, but it's whatever. Alright, I do think we're just gonna That All You Got this. Just deny them a little bit of value here, especially like I'm assuming they still have 3 CNCs left in deck. So this could like basically ruin their entire turn. So this hand at least plays a little bit, so I'm not going to block the Scar for a Scar. Again, if they have another CYB, it's like, that sucks, but... They've already seen 4 of them, I think, at this point. And we're drawing a random card, so this should be able to get there on a 5-card hand. Alright, pitching a Surgical is also interesting. Alright, into levels, sure. So they're getting a lot of good damage here. Snail blocks. Alright, into a bond. Oh my god, what is this Bonds of Agony? Alright, what could they possibly have here? They have Tunic up, so I guess they could have a lot of things here. So what is like the worst for us here? We've seen 3 Venomous, so it's not Venomous. We've seen 1 just a Nick. So what is the max of this? The max of this is... What is the max value here? It's +1. Max value is 5 here, plus just Nick, so 10. I feel like I'm not blocking 10. So I feel like I am just going to say, like, if you want to pop it, you can pop it. And maybe that's okay. And then if they can take 1 aspect from hands, they can take 3 CNCs out of the deck, or they can take one of these 2 blues, which I'm kind of fine with. So I think we're just saying no blocks on this. Yeah, if they want to rip it, they can rip it. Yeah. Again, we're not giving like a ton of cards to this right here. All right, notably, we do have a Slither that they're holding on to. All right, interesting they're taking the Wind Chakras. I don't know if that's what I would have picked, but maybe makes sense for them. So we can send 2 into 6, which is pretty good, or an Arsenal Aspect. Alternatively, we can just send the whole hand of 100 Winds Aspect CNC. We do have 2 Codexes out of the way, so we don't have to keep an Arsenal here, especially if they have CNCs in the deck, which I'm assuming they do. But again, I feel like I am a little bit dissatisfied with how I'm playing this so far. I think the 2 turns where we IP'd ourselves were a little bit unfortunate, but I was kind of expecting more than what they ended up doing. So we do still have 3 CYBs left to worry about, which is also kind of scary, especially when we're at a lower life total. All right, we'll send the CNC in. All right, we get a Bonds of Agony out of them, which is not bad. We've also not seen a single Siren's Call. I think we're at the point now where I need to start blocking. All right, this kind of implies to me that they don't have a Siren's Call. It's hard to say for sure, though. Could definitely get blown out by it, but I think we just need to try to do something here. We still have 1 aspect left in the deck, so if we can resolve like a chase aspect line, finishing on CNC, I think we're in a really good spot. Alternative is we can block with Shuko here, leaving Traverse up, but then our next hand is not incredibly good, so I think we have to try to go for it here. Again, I've kind of put myself a little bit in this position. So they do have the Siren's Call, it's pretty bad. All right, finishing on CNC is not scary. So this is exactly what we tried to play around. So we can block 3 here, take 3. They don't really have a way to pump this. Wait, what happened to their Slither? Did they already use the Slither? Or, oh, maybe they pitched a red to hiss. Maybe that's what it was. Okay, so they didn't have a Slither. They had a Bonds. Okay, so that's what it was. So yeah, they don't have anything else they can really do here. Unless they... No, there's nothing, right? So we can just do chase aspect CNC, and we should be pretty close to closing out the game. Again, I'm making sure. I think I do still have that aspect I pitched earlier. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the chase aspect. We still have Shuko up, which is also really good at this point in the game. I do think we just want to probably send max damage here, especially with when we know we have 2 codexes out of the way. All right, we have a sync here. So this might mean we pivot off the CNC. So you can come in for 2 and then 5. I think it's worth it. All right, they can go to 1 here if they choose. Should be pretty rough. We still do also have, like, I think a fair number of reacts in the deck. All right, looks like they're giving us a 3 block. That's fine. We'll go ahead and arsenal the CNC. Okay, we do find a wax on. Ooh, this hand does not block incredibly well, though. So here we have to block 5, and then we block 5 with Pouncing Paw and Shuko and Pouncing Key losing our CNC. It's pretty rough. What do we have left in the deck for targets? I guess we can get like a Mauling Key, and that's fine. Arsenaling Wax Off. I think that's the only play I see. Yeah, unfortunate. So I do think these Wax Offs can be a little bit of a liability sometimes. All right, we'll go ahead and pitch our Sacred Art here. Send 2/1/5. Should take them off at least 1 card, if I'm not mistaken. All right, we get our Mauling. We are sitting on React, which is decent, especially if we can pair it with a Wax On and like stuff some Mistblades. Might be all right. All right, this does demand 2 cards actually because of the on hit. Unless they have React or CYB. Maybe CYB. Okay, React. Sure. All right, we get him down to 1, but it's not looking great here. And again, I think that's mostly my fault. I feel like we can actually, so one interesting play here is we can like wax on or wax off this and then drop the next Mistblade if they're just trying to lock us like that. I think that's worth it. We do open ourselves up to Codex a little bit, but I think that's probably worth the risk. Assuming that they're going to Mistblade again. Okay, they don't. What does this mean? Is this the last Justinic? If it is, what does that mean? I think it just means we die, right? So if they have Justinic right now, I don't think there's actually a way we can live. Because we block 3, 4, 8, and then Justinic pumps this to 10 with Stiletto. So more likely than not, I'm imagining this is just new or like new ability or something. I mean, if they have it, they have it, basically. I don't think there's really much we can do here. You may like sink below, try to dig for Wax Off, but I think that's pretty much like the extent of what we can do. So let's go ahead and just say no blocks on this. All right, they do have the Justinic, which is unfortunate. And then Stiletto plus Slither should pump it to 10. All right, we'll go ahead and see if we can at least live here. So we need a red wax on like right now. All right, didn't find it. That's fine. So I think I played that game a little bit wrong. Those 2 turns I IP'd myself were really bad. I think I was not really thinking about CY. I was thinking more about fatigue than I was thinking about them like just like I was thinking more about like what if they end on a CNC as opposed to like what if they end on a CYB. So maybe blocking there was a little bit wrong. But I think that was like actually like a pretty good game. Like, so I actually like this list a lot better than the other one, but I think that the game just didn't line up as well for me this one. I think there are just some awkward hands that I couldn't really process. So performance wise, I think that was a pilot error as opposed to the deck error. So I'm gonna give that one. I'm still gonna give it like an 8 out of 10. I think that this deck is also pretty good new just based off the sideboard. For coolness factor, 10 out of 10. The sensors, which actually unfortunately never came out this game, very, very cool. Love this card a lot. Played it in a lot of my Zen decks before, so I think it's really cool to see that seeing play as well. So 10 out of 10 there. And then for clunkiness, I actually don't think this list is like very clunky at all. I think this is actually like a pretty streamlined list, so I'm gonna also say like 8 out of 10 on that. Again, I think there is just like some natural clunkiness with a lot of Zen decks, but this one seems like very, very streamlined, very good. I think like just a very, very solid list. So like this list a lot. And yeah, so I think that's a pretty good point to wrap it up on. Again, thank you all for watching. Again, I am like super, super tired from work, so apologies if the gameplay there is a little bit lacking, but we did our best, and that's what's important. So. Thank you all for watching, and again, if you have any ideas or deck lists you want me to try, let me know, and I'll see you all next time.